that you're not in my top 50. You might be in Charlemagne's top 50 and things like that, but you haven't done that much for me in my life. Like, I didn't never want to be like Pusha. I never had a Pusha moment in my life.
You made a comparison with you and Nas, man. Everybody was talking about it. Now, why out of everybody you picked Nas, bro?
I didn't do it.
They asked him.
No.
They asked
The new song?
No.
You don't like Ace Trumpets?
What's so great
It's so good.
Jim Jones just poked the bear by attacking Nas's legacy. The response? A cultural earthquake. We're breaking down how a few reckless words from Jim Jones turned him from a rap icon to a public target, Pusha T's ambush, Nas's silence, and how it all unfolded into a career-altering battle. Let me ask you, what happens when you challenge a legend? Is it just another rap beef, or does it signal something bigger? Drop your thoughts below. Jim Jones made a huge mistake by picking the wrong names to challenge. He went after two of hip-hop's most respected legends, Nas and Pusha T, and disrespected them both back-to-back, like he had nothing left to lose. Now, his career is hanging by a thread. That was all it took for the entire culture to turn against him. Jim publicly claimed that Nas never really had much of an impact, that Pusha T was overrated, and even said he was the one who made Nas go viral again. Some say that was the exact moment he crossed a line he can't come back from. What followed didn't resemble a typical rap beef. It looked like something much bigger was already in motion. The real question now is, was this just another rap ego trip that went too far, or is Jim being systematically phased out by the very culture he helped build? That quote about Summerjam getting cut? It's still spreading. And Pusha? He's not finished yet. So, let's rewind and break down what really sparked this slow public downfall.
But he knows
My son can't tell you one Nas record. You heard? Like, let's keep it a buck here.
That one line, boom. That's the moment Jim went into freefall. This wasn't just some petty shade. Nah, this was an eraser. Jim wasn't just critiquing Nas's latest track. He was throwing out the entire legacy of one of hip-hop's most respected, genre-defining legends.
I admired Nas, but remember Nas' first record, The Barbecue, came out when I was in 11th grade. So Nas was my idol when I was young. Like, you dig? Came to dressing, the wordplay, the music, everything. I was a superior Nas fan. Period. I'd never take that away from him. But then as I got in the game, you got to realize that your rivals would be idols, and not to take anything away from that. I developed my own style and my own lane that these kids start to gravitate towards the same way I gravitated towards Nas when I was younger and things like that. It's a whole different generation.
Let's zoom in for a second. This wasn't just any platform. Jim dropped this bomb on the Joe and Jada podcast, a show known for lighthearted banter, not career eulogies. And instead of backing down, Jim doubled down with his chest out, no hesitation.
And I came into light and started going crazy that these kids love me. They don't really know who Nas is. If he's 22, he's born in 03.
Not all of them. Some of them know.
You know what I mean?
A lot of them know.
Jim went as far as to say that Nas never really had an impact on the culture, and that his own Billboard success could potentially surpass Nas. Let's get one thing straight. Nas isn't just another rapper, he's a cornerstone of hip-hop. Illmatic isn't just a classic, it's the subject of academic study in college courses. Ether still sends chills down the spines of seasoned artists, and King's Disease proves that Nas is still pushing the boundaries of his craft. Meanwhile, Jim's speaking like he just dropped the hip-hop equivalent of The Chronic. What's wild here is that it wasn't even about the music anymore, it was pure ego, insecurity disguised as an opinion. And then he dragged his son into the mix. What message does that send? As soon as he dropped that, the internet wasted no time roasting him. Fans flooded social media with side-by-side comparisons, pulling up every major Nas achievement, his awards, sold-out shows, and timeless albums. The receipts were undeniable.
Yeah, Jimmy boy, you should have never brought this up. Y'all are only 3 years apart, and Nas is just like murdering you. You asked us to look up the stats, and here they are. Like, Jim Jones, like, you got a couple songs. I mean, like, literally, it's a couple. But we're talking about Nas. Let me show y'all Nas's last projects. Nas been getting it in since 2018. Jimmy, when the last time you put out an album? Oh, would you look at that? You have been dropping music. You really been dropping music. But nobody's heard it. Nobody's listening.
Meanwhile, Jim's chart numbers were struggling, but he thought he could rewrite hip-hop history with a hot take no one asked for. Typically, when someone gets roasted online for disrespecting a legend, they'd walk it back or at least dial down the heat. But not Jim. Instead, he jumped on nightcap, stared Shannon Sharp down, and doubled down on his claims. He outright said that Nas never had the kind of influence everyone thinks he did.
I'm way more influential than Nas, and I don't care what nobody say. I know I made a little boo-boo when you talk about the sales and all this type of shit. I don't feel like getting into that rhetoric about where I started and where he started.
Well, you said that
but
bullshit.
listen, Nas was nice when I was in high school. When I was in 10th grade, Nas came out. Nas was dope. We appreciated him. He had a little bit of run. Nas always came up second to Jay and DMX and all these other people. Like, he
Ain't
never
no
had
shame in that. There
he
a lot
never
of
had-
folks
he
came up
never had
second to
that
Tom
type of-
Brady.
He never had that type of influence on us, except for his first album.
But let's pause for a second. Second to who? Jay and DMX? These three didn't just compete in the same space. They were on entirely different paths. Nas was the spiritual poet, the voice of introspection and reflection. Jay was the embodiment of corporate hustle. DMX was pure chaos and raw emotion. Comparing them is like comparing Kendrick Lamar to Future, both legends, but entirely different forces. But to claim that Nas never led the charge in hip-hop, that's not an opinion. That's historical revisionism. And what's even crazier, Jim doesn't even deny being a fan. He's openly admitted that as a teenager, he wanted to dress like Nas.
I already told you, I used to want to dress like Nas because he had a lot of fresh clothes that the hustlers used to wear and shit, and we used to see him on TV. He had one of the illest albums of all time. And then in high school when he had the barbecue and shit like that. So I'm a real fan of Nas, but he kind of lost me after the movie Belly and shit like that.
This man is using a movie from 1998 to justify dismissing a 30-year-long career in music. And that's where the delusion sets in. It's no longer about the facts or opinions. It's about Jim wanting Nas to be beneath him and getting frustrated when the numbers don't back up his argument. This wasn't just a critique, it was all about positioning. Jim wanted to place himself in the same breath as the GOATs. Instead, he exposed how insecure he really is about never being included in that conversation. And if you thought Jim was going to back off, think again. On Bag Fuel, he hit us with one of the wildest claims yet. Not only did he say Nas wasn't relevant, or that he was always in second place, he took it further and boldly said that he was the one who brought Nas back to viral fame.
What I did for Nas probably never been done for him in his life. He's never been that viral at all, ever. Ever. He's never been talked about like this ever in his life.
Now, has Nas reached out to you?
You dig? The last time he was in some shit like this where people were comparing when him and Jay was
I knew you
beating
was
on
gonna say
him.
that.
You heard? You dig? Like, and I don't want to talk about other people's career, but let's just get to the
Have you spoken
semantics
to
of
Nas
it.
since the whole thing?
Nas.
Okay.
Huh? I don't know Nas to have a conversation with him. You don't have a conversation, we can have that too, and shit like that. You dig? Like, I don't really care.
One thing
Jim acted like the entire culture should be thanking him for reminding us Nas was still around. The reactions came fast and furious. One fan commented, "The only reason you're even relevant right now is because you're making wild comments about Nas, and that's the only reason people are interviewing you for clicks. Jim still hasn't made any real impact." Another wrote, "The amount of delusional disrespect Jim Jones is throwing at Nas is getting out of control. Enough is enough. You don't earn any respect with comments like these." And the numbers still didn't add up. Nas has been putting in work. 3 albums in 5 years, a Grammy, and multiple sold-out shows. He's been grinding while Jim's been podcasting. Jim thought he was setting a trend, but all he really did was dig his own grave. Now, let's fast forward to 2024. The Louis Vuitton Spring Summer Show in Paris is packed with powerhouses: Beyoncé, Jay-Z, Rihanna, LeBron, and every other major figure in music, fashion, and culture. Cameras are everywhere. Pharrell is debuting his first collection as the new head of Louis Vuitton Men's, and the energy is electric. Then, out of nowhere, the beat drops. But this wasn't just any track. It was a new song from Clips. For the first time in over a decade, Pusha T and his brother No Malice are premiering a fresh record. And when those lyrics hit, you could feel the entire atmosphere shift. Even Jay-Z was feeling it. This wasn't just a subtle jab. No, this was a full-blown declaration of war, and it was dropped right in the middle of one of the most high-profile events of the year. The lyrics hit hard, and they made one thing clear. This was a message that couldn't be ignored. Everybody knew exactly who Pusha was calling out. The line about chasing a feature out of your element was a direct shot at Jim for aligning himself with Drake after being crowned an honorary Dipset member on stage in Harlem. And let's not forget, this is the same Drake that Pusha tore apart in The Story of Adidon, a track Drake still hasn't fully bounced back from. This wasn't just a casual diss track thrown up on SoundCloud, this was a calculated move. Pusha was using Paris Fashion Week as the perfect backdrop for a public ambush. That's the level of strategy Pusha was working with. Meanwhile, Jim kept the heat going, dragging Pusha on The Breakfast Club, Rap Caviar, and Drink Champs. He went as far as to claim that Pusha wasn't even top 50.
Can you sing along the 5 Pusha T records right now? His records.
Yes.
His records?
Yeah.
Name
I love
them.
Pusha. Nostalgia.
Oh, you was a Pusha T fan. I didn't know he had fans like that. Can you name 5 Pusha T records? No, his records. Pusha T, I love your soul, my dog. You're not in my top 50. You might be in Charlemagne's top 50 and things like that, but you haven't done that much for me in my life. Like, I didn't never want to be like Pusha. I never had a Pusha moment in my life. I never thought, like you did, like, where I'm from, niggas want to be like you if you was really that dude and that rapper and things like that.
Wayne wanted to be like Pusha?
Shit.
He was influenced by Pusha?
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
That's why Pusha did the Mr. Me Too record.
Okay, cool. You a very strong Pusha T fan. Yeah. But what else has he bring to the game? Did he make people want to dress like him? Did he have some slang that everybody was talking like him? There would be the girls, all the girls wanted to do him. Like, what is the...
Instead of getting caught up in the same podcast drama, Pusha T made a power move, pulling billionaires, luxury brands, and industry legends into the front row of his response. This wasn't just a diss track, it was a statement. And the setting, that played a huge role. The track, produced by the legendary Pharrell, was crafted in the heart of Louis Vuitton's Paris headquarters, overlooking the Seine River. Pharrell, who's deeply connected to both Virginia's hip-hop roots and the elite circles of fashion, brought chains and whips to life in a place where power and influence collide. As Pharrell described to the New York Times, they were creating something revolutionary. Looking out at that view, it was clear. They were playing the system and winning. While Pusha was plotting his next move in Paris, Nas was back in Queens, building an empire. While Jim Jones was chasing headlines, Nas was laying down the groundwork for something monumental. Resorts World Queens, a $5 billion casino complex that covers 350,000 square feet. This isn't just another business deal. Nas is securing generational wealth, not only for himself, but for the entire borough. It's infrastructure, opportunity, and legacy in one massive vision.
Generational wealth for an entire borough.
The future is not something you wait for, it's something you build. It lives in the hands of the doers, the dreamers, the people who refuse to stand still. Resorts World is more than a casino. It's energy, it's opportunity, it's hope for the borough. A second chance for some, a first step for many. It's where community gathers, not just to win, but to build a future once imagined. This isn't just business, this is legacy. And now, it's time.
While Jim Jones is still out here boasting about Summerjam bookings like it's 2008, Nas is taking a different approach. Instead of battling with words, Nas hit the industry with facts, and those facts delivered a much harder punch than any diss track could. The fans? They immediately picked up on it. The comments flooding Nas's posts were savage. One user said it best, "Some people just can't stop chasing clout." Meanwhile, Nas is out here making power moves, silently proving his status. When you're truly successful, respected, and influential, you don't need to argue. You let your actions speak for themselves. Meanwhile, Jim's still trying to stay relevant, but when it was his turn to shine at Summerjam 2024, the crowd wasn't having it. Jim was clearly hoping for a moment of glory, but when he hit the stage, nothing but silence.
Yeah.
if it couldn't get any worse, it did. Funkmaster Flex, who had been one of Jim's biggest supporters, pulled the plug on his set, cutting it short in front of everyone. You could see the impact on Jim in real time. This was meant to be his big moment. But instead, all the energy he'd been building around this beef fell flat. At the end of the day, Jim didn't bring the hits. He brought drama. Even with all that, he wasn't done. He still had one more diss left in him, and this one was personal. After the Louis Vuitton debut, Pusha stayed relatively quiet publicly. But behind the scenes, whispers started circulating. Pusha wasn't finished with Jim. Sources close to Clips hinted that their upcoming reunion album is packed with precise shots aimed right at Jim. The track that premiered in Paris, that was just the teaser. What's coming next is a lot darker. Some are even calling it the Coke Bear moment because Pusha is fully embracing the villain role. He's not playing it safe anymore. And if Jim keeps running his mouth, he's in for lyrical destruction. And it's not just about the bars. Pusha's making moves on another level, aligning himself with elite spaces while Jim's stuck in the alleyways of Harlem, spitting over the same beat that just buried him. You heard that right. Jim tried to flip the Chains and Whips beat and drop his own freestyle in response, but it wasn't even close. Jim took it too far when he hinted at No Malice having an issue. That's where he crossed the line. Pusha T can handle shots. It's part of the game. But bringing No Malice into it, a man who left rap to pursue a life of faith and change, that's not just an attack, it's disrespect. Pusha hasn't fired back publicly yet, but if history is any guide, he's not one to react on impulse. He plans his moves carefully, and when he does respond, it's devastating. Then, Jim made his biggest blunder. He went on camera and took one last shot at Clips and their new track, Ace Trumpets. This wasn't just a casual comment, it was another strike. But this time, it felt like he was digging his own grave.
We went viral on the Spotify Rap Caviar podcast.
Yes.
About Pusha T.
People don't like people, yeah, see? There we go. And then look what happens. But I'm ready for all things, man. Shouts to Pusha, shouts to that guy, shouts to the Clips. I mean, congratulations.
Do you like the new song?
No, but you know.
You don't like Ace Trumpets?
What's so great about it?
It's so good.
It's good?
It's so, oh man.
It's good?
So, yeah, there's something going on that you ain't telling us about, bro.
It's good in what? A nostalgic value of it?
You don't think Ace Trumpets is
believe
hard?
It. I don't believe them. But that's a whole nother story. I don't want to downplay nobody's craft anymore.
Jim tried to play it cool, claiming he doesn't listen to Clips and never has. But his attempt at chill wasn't fooling anyone. The insecurity was clear in every word. Deep down, he knew he was the target, and they obliterated him. And this is when the energy completely shifts. It's no longer just about Pusha and Nas. The entire culture is starting to shut the door on Jim. The blogs are on his case, and even fans who used to rep Dipset are telling him it's time to just let it go. This wasn't just a rap beef anymore, it became a lesson. Jim Jones stepped into a battle with Nas and Pusha T, thinking he could hold his own with bars, but instead, he was crushed by silence, strategic moves, and billion-dollar plays. Now, he's nowhere to be found in the conversation. No trending, no playlists, just a shadow of his former self. And the real kicker? The next Clips album hasn't even dropped yet. That might just be the final nail in the coffin. So, if you think this beef was something, just wait until you hear what's coming next.